We're live.
All right. Hello, and welcome to Side 1, Side B with Dave and Steve. I'm Dave.
And I'm Steve.
And because we do these things in sessions, we have a guest today. Introduce yourself.
It's Sean again.
Motherfuckers.
Motherfucker.
Little does Sean know we secretly have a Kiss record in that B-52 sleeve.
Yes.
Son of a bitch.
Today we are going to talk about, I'm not going obscure with this. This is a record that a lot of people know and love. This was one of John Lennon's favorite records when he died. We are going to talk about the B-52s' self-titled debut album. Steve, what do you know about the B-52s?
At most, I have a casual osmosis of their music to me. I'm very familiar with Rock Lobster because it's been everywhere. And I think most recently, the person that did that System of a Down cover of Chop Suey that sounded just like the B-52s and worked way too well. So that's about my extent.
Sean, what do you know about him?
I know Love Shack because that was on the radio all the fucking time when I was like 8 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that
I
was
know
a
that
big
one,
hit
too.
for a while. Yeah.
And I know Rock Lobster. I've never actually listened to one of their albums before, so this will be a new experience for me.
My buddy Adam used to cover Rock Lobster
Nice.
and Super Destroyer.
So what do you think of the cover? Just pass it around.
All right, so we got a yellow cover with the band members here. Looks very 1950s. So if you went like back in time and dropped this into a record store at that time, it probably wouldn't look out of place. And then very minimalistic there on the back.
I do think it's weird that that dude has his penis out, though. No, just kidding.
I don't think that's weird at all.
I do like the 50. They definitely had that aesthetic. I remember even from the Love Shack video where it was the 50s with beehive hair. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this would have been a 50, like what a 50s album would have looked like, though. But the bright yellow, I love the bright yellow contrast with like the black and white photo.
Yeah, it's what someone in 1979 would use to evoke kind of a 50s aesthetic.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, it's also has kind of like that kind of John Waters-y, twisted camp thing going.
Oh yeah,
It doesn't get quite as, like fucked up as John Waters stuff goes, but it has like a similar vibe, like the gay campy party, have fun in a weird space type of thing. I think every member of the B-52s except Kate Pearson is some form of gay. But yeah, I'm gonna go. Speaking of the lineup, I'm gonna just kind of read out who does what. There's Kate Pearson, who's one of the vocalists, and she also plays organ and the keyboard bass, as well as a second guitar part on a couple songs. There is Fred Schneider, vocals, walkie-talkie, toy piano, and keyboard bass. Then there's Keith Strickland, drums and percussion, Claire sounds. Cindy Wilson, vocals, bongos, second guitar on one song, tambourine. And then there is, who I think was the band's secret weapon at this point, Ricky Wilson, the guitar player. He also plays Smoke Alarm, but he was Cindy Wilson's brother. One of the reasons why Love Shack sounds so different from like their early stuff, especially like this, is Ricky Wilson died of AIDS at some point, and Love Shack was like what they did after he had died. And so like Ricky Wilson was a motherfucker of a guitar player. He would do all kinds of weird tunings and kinds of things where, like for most of their stuff, he was the only guitar player, and he would figure out how to do like a lot of cool stuff by tuning it so that he could do kind of rhythm and lead at the same time, where he would like tune the bottom two strings to like a power chord, and then the top two strings to like an octave of like the dominant note of the chord, and then just leave the middle part in between. So he would just do like all kinds of fun stuff with his left hand and strum really fast. The guitar playing is really unique in this album. I've never heard anyone do anything quite like this successfully. It's it's really cool. He's one of my favorite guitarists for that reason, and it's kind of a work smarter, not harder approach, but it's really creative and innovative, and I love it.
What year did this album come out?
1979.
1979.
And they were from Athens, Georgia. Same as REM, but a little earlier.
Oh, yeah. One of the vocalists does the backup vocals on Shiny Happy People.
Yep, Kate Pearson, the straight member of the B-52s.
And I know REM loves that song.
Yeah. I don't think that song is as bad as REM thinks it is.
I guess I'll tell a quick story. I thought it was funny. The reason they wrote that song, Shiny Happy People, was because people were saying Stand was such a generic pop song, and REM was like, we can write an even more generic pop song.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
And that was I don't know if that's true, but I like to think it's true.
Yeah, they were from Athens, Georgia. They were kind of like playing house parties at like colleges in Athens, Georgia, you know, like making kind of much more relaxed music, but about the same time as like the punk scene was bubbling up in like New York and Detroit and Cleveland. And they are kind of part of like that same whole, you know, like early punk new wave thing that was going on. But like they're much more relaxed, like a party band. They're not like as poetic and threatening as say like Patti Smith or Richard Hell or Television or the Dead Boys or Iggy and the Stooges or anything like that. They're just kind of good music to dance to at a party.
Mastodon is also from Georgia, so I wonder what the Mastodon to the B-52s crossover listenership is.
Probably more than you would think. Like a lot of people do really get into like their local heroes. I bet there's someone in Georgia who listens to the B-52s, Mastodon, and Outkast equally. Two of those are good party dancing songs, and then Mastodon's awesome just in a different way.
Well, all right. Well, we're going to slap this fucker on, and we'll be back to tell you what we think of it. All right. Well, we're already rolling and we're laughing about something that happened last time, but I'll let Dave do a proper reintroduction.
All right, we are back. Guys, fellas, what did you think of that?
I think that music had a lot of influence on a lot of things that I ended up listening to it, maybe in ways that people didn't quite understand, but I could hear some influence on like the early alternative rock or metal scenes. I could hear some like goth rock type stuff. I could hear a lot of early influence possibly on the grunge movement even, especially like the more artistic side of that scene.
Yeah, I know I already talked about the guitar player before we did that, but like that kind of surf guitar but with like an element of heaviness and like played with like a kind of like punk intensity to it. Like this was around the same time that Dead Kennedys were getting started on the other coast, but I do wonder how much like, you know, B-52s would have started a little earlier, even if like this album I think came out 79, which
it came out in 1980.
Okay, so yeah, I wonder how familiar East Bay Ray was with the B-52s at this time, because there's some stuff in common just with that menacing surf guitar.
I was also thinking that they had a lot in common with the Cramps too.
Oh yeah,
that psychobilly kind of thing, you know. And I thought it was good, and like you were saying, Steve, where there was influence from. I could hear influences in the later Pixie sound because of the surf rock, then especially like the Bossa Nova album by the Pixies.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
I was thinking during the song, I noted on the first song, the guitar playing was heavier than I would have expected from the B-52s, and then on the second song, that the bass tone was just this really deep sound that I thought was heavy, but also in a song that wasn't heavy, and I really liked the dynamic.
That first song, Planet Claire, it like has like the kind of kitschy, like sci-fi horror, you know, like the kind of like flying saucer movie that you would watch on Mystery Science Theater, but just kind of like embracing it unironically. Just
yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
I said that I really liked the intro, and I thought the keys sounded fucking great. I loved the sound. 52 Girls was like fun and jangly. Dance This Mess Around, that was the third song.
Yep.
And I said I loved the desperation sound in the vocals. It was I think you're mixing the two up, Steve. That was the one that had kind of the really deep bass sound.
Oh, it could be, yeah.
The second song was a little bit more upbeat, jangly, and then the Dance This Mess Around had that really deep sounding bass. The music was really good in that one, and yeah.
I really I think out of all the songs so far, and also I think on the whole album, but we'll get to it when we flip the track. Like I think Dance This Mess Around made the most use out of all three singers, because you had, you know, like the kind of sad, desperate vocals at the beginning, and then the tempo picks up and you have the other two vocalists kind of take over the whole thing, and it sounds more like, you know, it sounds like, you know, like one of those 50s dance songs where they're just saying the names of the dances, but it still has like that edge to it. There's like some darkness to it without the lyrics really being dark. It sounds kind of like the end of the world. It sounds like trying to dance your way through a bad breakup.
I could see it fitting in like a kind of in like a Fallout soundtrack even.
Yeah.
To me, it kind of was like you're at a party and you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And because I think I heard
Every
at one
party
point,
for me.
I think they were at one point, I heard like saying I'm doing shots, or there's shots, and it's kind of, I think it's whatever bad scene they were in and they're just trying to get out of it. But they're also, it did have like a sort of desperation, like you said. It was much darker tone than the first two songs that preceded it. Even though like the first song was kind of surf rocky, dark, like, you know, Planet Nine from Outer Space type song.
Yeah.
But that one was darker. And then ROCK LOBSTER is just a great fucking classic. I've heard that song before, so that one was great.
I don't think there's much we can say about that one that hasn't already been said.
Yeah, it's one of
Pfeffernuken.
Yeah, it's one of the best surf rock type songs ever written. I like the dynamics. It doesn't feel like it's 7 minutes long. It's just
that was 7 minutes long.
It's almost 7 minutes long, but yeah.
It's funny because we're recording this on the same day as the Ace Frehley review, and both of those guys are like, "When are these songs going to end?" And they're only like 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, and then like ROCK LOBSTER is like it changes so much. Like it's simple, but like it changes. It has like a flow to it, like an ebb and a flow to it. Like it's
the B-52s are just better artists.
Yeah. And I have to say, from like an ADHD perspective, the band fills a lot of the space with a lot of different interesting hooks, and I liked what you said about the vocal dynamic, and I think it's kind of funny that I made the Mastodon comparison earlier, because they do the same thing in their band. All three of them sing, and they're able to play off that dynamic. So I think we can officially say that the B-52s are lighter Mastodon.
Yes.
I love the dynamic, because it would have like a chunky chord or a jangly chord, and then it would have the little ding ding, like little background stuff, and even the part where there's a walkie-talkie, because Dave liked to point that out. It was kind of funny. Dave's like, he's like beep beep beep, and I'm like, thanks Dave, thanks for that.
I love all those little non-traditional instruments that they're using on this. I think that's really cool, and something that we've utilized in Lucid Fugue quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, it's like if you really look at the instrument credits, you have Ricky Wilson and Keith Strickland and Kate Pearson are all, like instrumentalists, and if you watch them live, they're the ones who are usually playing instruments. And then you have Fred and Cindy playing toy piano or playing the bongos. And Fred isn't a traditional singer. I think he makes great use of his voice. His voice is perfect for the music being played. But you have the more traditional musicians, but you don't have a full traditional band because you don't have an official bass player. And then you have a couple of poets who have a bunch of great ideas and great stage presence. And so it has a great dynamic of the musicians and non-musicians playing off of each other.
I wonder if Tom Waits had some influence from them, because Tom Waits would do the same thing where he wouldn't have traditional instruments in a song. He would have different things.
Like typewriters and oil drums and
like especially like on Swordfish trombone, that was just like a weird experimental album.
Yeah,
he was like very traditional before, and then he started doing that crazy stuff,
and then blew out his voice on purpose.
Yeah. Come along with thee.
You're innocent when you dream. Yeah, I there's no way Tom Waits never listened to this. Like, even if it wasn't considered a direct influence, it made it into his psyche.
Yeah.
I bet you Les Claypool listened to this band.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
I bet any band that could be considered kind of weird, Les Claypool has absorbed to some degree.
Yeah, good point. All right, Dave, what do we have coming on side 2B?
Determined.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Like, this other side, like, they did kind of front load the songs that would kind of become the hits off the album. So it's a lot of the same kind of music, but it's like nothing that you would have heard before. Like, yeah, a lot of the same kind of upbeat party music with some kind of darkness behind it, musically similar, but it's not going to be any songs you've heard. It's going to be, I think side 1's a little stronger, but I think side B, it's also just like a solid side of music. And like their second album was a lot like this one. I think this record as a whole is their best one. Their second one is good too, but it's similar to this one. And then like over time, they just didn't maintain quite the same momentum until Ricky Wilson died, and then they decided to stay together and put out Love Shack and had the biggest hit of their career at that point. Like these first two albums, and this first one especially, is where they had just like the weird nervous energy going. And after that, they fucked with the dynamics some by sometimes like working with like horn players and the like. And I think it works best when it's just like the five of them doing whatever weird thing comes to their mind. This is kind of like a last gasp of like the early band and this particular dark yet bouncy moment.
All right. Well, let's cue it up.
All right, are we rolling?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, and we are back. That was side B of the B-52's self-titled album. Fellas, what'd you think?
I enjoyed that side. I agree with you that it wasn't quite as strong as the first side. I thought it was a bit top-heavy, as my favorite ones were the first two tracks. But overall, I wouldn't say that lessened my enjoyment of this album overall. I thought Lava had a number of great moments on it. Particularly, I enjoy the organ playing on this track, and There's a Moon in the Sky, that while I wouldn't say sounded like Deep Purple's organ playing, kind of invoked that in my head enough to like scratch an itch, so I could kind of enjoy it in the same manner.
Yeah, this side had a little more of like a hard rock, like a hard garage rock type feel
for sure
to it than the first side did.
I enjoyed the passion that was put into the song Hero Worship. That song definitely, as you mentioned, had while we were talking about it when we were listening, that one had a darker edge to the lyrics. I thought 6060842, for whatever reason, that song reminded me of Henry Rollins. It just seemed like something that he would have sang, or maybe something similar he would write. I'm not sure why that invokes that, but
it's about someone actually calling one of those for a good time call, and then the number's disconnected. That
does sound like it had something Henry Rollins would say about himself.
Yeah.
I thought Downtown was kind of weak. I think it was a live song. We couldn't figure it out. We looked it up. I thought the production on it seemed more raw than everything else on the album, and we could hear like crowd noises, which I suppose could have been sampled in, but my assumption is that that's a live track. And while I say that's the weakest track on the record, I certainly don't mean I dislike it by any means.
It's a nice little cover. It's kind of like a little coda on the whole thing, a little victory lap. We pulled this off. Here's a fun little pop standard cover.
Yeah. Like it's almost like a bonus track in a way, I suppose.
I actually had a different take a little bit.
All right, well, let's hear it.
I liked Lava. There's a Moon in the Sky called The Moon. I actually thought that song was too long, It was not my favorite on the album. It was probably my least favorite on the album. I thought Hero Worship was awesome. I loved the darker lyrics. I thought it was well sung because she did the thing where she's like, she didn't enunciate things so she could hide it behind that facade of a darker song. And so it was, that was fun. The 60842, it was fun. It was good. It was short. It was a nice little song. And then I thought Downtown was like the perfect cover for them.
Yeah.
I'd actually like that better probably than the original song because I never really thought that was a great song, but they actually did it better. But yeah, there was something about there's a moon in the sky called Moon. It was good, but it just wasn't as good as the other stuff. That's kind of my...
I feel like throughout this whole thing, there's kind of like a theme of loneliness that runs through most of the songs, if not all of them.
Yeah, I could pick up on that.
Yeah, like Lava, you know, it's about love, but it's presenting love as like something like dangerous that will kill you, that will boil you alive. There's that bit near the end, like, I'm gonna jump in a crater. Okay, see you later. Like little playful, like obvious rhyme, but it's just they're spending as much time talking about a burning, passionate love as they are like just talking about something that seems danger and threatening. Like, don't let your lava love turn to stone. Oh, my body's burning.
Do you think that could be because most of the band members were LGBT?
I think so.
And maybe because at the time, in 79, it's no big secret that, you know, homosexuality and anything related was very frowned upon. So maybe that's where that song's coming from.
I think that's very likely, yeah.
During the same time period, Rob Halford in his autobiography was talking about how he was really lonely on tours being a gay man, had a hard time finding that in society because, you know, at that time it was kind of hush-hush. So he ended up seeking companionship in unhealthy ways. So I have to imagine that's something that any LGBT person in that time period would have been experiencing and would have wrote a song about.
Yeah, and then there's a moon in the sky. There's bits, you know, like you're in outer space, you don't feel out of place because there are thousands of others like you, others like you, others like you. You know, it's about a deeply lonely person trying to find other people like them just for some kind of human connection. And just under just like this happy, bouncy sounding song, just profound sadness underneath it, which I thought was really cool. I liked the contrast. And like Hero Worship, like mixed references to like looting the dead body of your idol, you know, like picking it clean. There's reference in that could be read as necrophilia. But this is the point where I feel like, okay, maybe the John Waters reference that I made at the beginning is more apt than I thought.
Well, I was thinking that the hero worship was like, even back then they used to worship celebrities or whatever and put these people on a pedestal only for them to be knocked down or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And but she's also saying like getting down on her knees, looking up to make sure he's pleased.
Yeah.
You know, well, what's that a reference to?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
Yeah. And then there's like motor, broken hearted, rusted, rotted, falling apart, a lock of hair, a belt he wore. It's not enough. I want more. That's really creepy. That's really dark. Yeah. I love that one. I think that's my favorite of this side. And as someone who, you know, like still thinks the first side's stronger, I've heard the songs on the first side a lot more. And so like this one's kind of like a hidden gem to me.
Yeah. I thought it wasn't a bad side. I actually just kind of doing an overall. I thought it was a very good album. I would actually add it to my rotation of like listening because I hadn't listened to it that deeply. I usually when I do a single listen to an album, you know, the first listen is always kind of your like first like getting through it and like, oh, this is fantastic. And then you go back and you kind of start finding the deeper meaning. So I probably will go back and listen to this and see if I can find more little hidden gems and stuff.
Yeah, as a ADHD person, the first listen is always the hardest part for me to get into an album because it's really hard to break through that like familiarity barrier where it becomes something that you can actually like focus on. And part of the reason I've been enjoying doing this podcast is because now that I'm in this context where I'm like forced to sit down and listen to it, I'm able to like pick up on some things that I probably wouldn't have picked up if I was trying, at least not picked up as easily if I was trying to listen to it on my own, because it's not really a band I don't think I would have sought out on my own without listening to it. But I was pleasantly surprised at the contrast of darkness with some lighter moments, which is very hard to pull off convincingly, but they just did it perfectly, I'd say.
Yeah, and while I said, Wild Planet, their second album isn't quite as good as this one, it's still a classic. Like, a couple of my all-time favorite songs by them are on that second one, like Your Own Private Idaho and Give Me Back My Man are both amazing songs. That one is interesting, too, in that I feel like the side 2 on Wild Planet has more standout moments, too. So it's still a great album. It's just like, this is the best thing they ever did. They still did some great things afterwards. For me, for whatever reason, their post-Ricky Wilson stuff doesn't hit in the same way. But, there's still some songs in that era that I like Rome. And yeah, it's just, it's not the same band anymore.
This album definitely sounded like a band that was trying to make a statement, or I don't know if they're trying to make a statement, but they were going all out and just wanted to make sure that it was like balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Going, like, making the best record they could make. And
yeah, they came out swinging.
Yeah. They wanted to make their mark, and they did.
Yeah. It was definitely a hit.
One thing I really wanted to point out about this entire album is I appreciated all the little tiny things that they did in there to increase dynamics, whether it be add some sound effects into a certain spot, or add percussion in a certain area, or double track the instruments in a different way. I think that a lot of production, especially in the modern era, tends to not do things like that anymore, and I think that contributes to a lot of albums just kind of sounding boring, because there's not as many hooks as there could be. One big criticism I have, say, of like modern Iron Maiden is their albums sound very flat, but like this album right here, which was done in '78, when I imagine it would have been harder to do little sound effects like that, added a lot of little moments where I don't think the songs would have hit in the same way if those things weren't present. But it's such a thing that goes so easily unnoticed.
Yeah, and the way that they're able to make the little like child's toy piano sound just like huge, like have it like not be overpowered by the fact that there is a real guitar with an amp in the same song. Yeah, just amazing.
I have to imagine that was really fun to do, because I mean, we did remember when I was going around buying all those child instrument toys for Lucid Fugue, and we sampled them, and then Dan gave them to his daughter.
Yeah.
I would actually argue, Steve, that modern music actually does do some weird shit. Like, they add in like just weird things, but however, what makes them boring is they make the weird thing the main hook.
Oh yeah, I could. Yeah, at that point, it's not nearly as effective. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So like, I can't remember. I think it was because doesn't Billie Eilish's brother produce all of her shit or something like that?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I'm not 100% sure, but I saw him on a talk show, and he came up with some thing, and people were like, "Oh, it's amazing," and everything. It was the main hook was just a traffic noise that he recorded on his phone or something like that. So it was like the weird thing was the whole hook, instead of where you just add like dynamic to a song to make it like stand out time. It's dumb, but yeah.
We literally did that for a Lucid Fugue song.
Oh yeah, there's a song that we put like some wet clothes in a washing machine and then slowed the recording down. Yeah.
And I sampled the crosswalk saying "wait" out in Des Moines, and then I just kept pressing it over and over again, and I go wait.
So what you're saying is you're as good as Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Duh.
Yeah.
Quit stealing the Plants vs. Zombies theme song.
The thing with Lucid Fugue, though, too, is like we are trying like every weird idea and seeing if we can make a song out of it. And sometimes it works. And I think it works most of the time, but then we play it for other people and they get mad at us.
So when you guys play live, who gets to fight over who pushes the space bar?
We've only played live once, and we keep having disagreements on what the live show would look like, so we never really get around to doing it. So we might just end up recruiting the rest of the Alliterates, and then you'll be our backing band or something at some point, maybe. I don't know.
I'm nobody's backing band, motherfucker.
Security.
You're my backing band. That's one of my favorite Rolling Stone stories, where Peter Watt, who's the
Charlie Watt.
Charlie Watt. So Mick Jagger was like drunk and he was fighting with Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, they were both fighting. And Mick Jagger calls up Charlie Watt. And he's like, come up here. Where's my drummer? Where's my drummer? And Charlie Watt goes up to the hotel room. He's like dressed in a suit. He punches Mick Jagger and holds him out the window. And he says, I'm not your fucking drummer. You're my fucking singer. And so, like, that was, I guess it was during a time where they were having a lot of feuds and everything, but it's probably one of my favorite Charlie Watt stories.
Well, Charlie Watt was like pretty straight-laced and put together. Like, he wasn't into like the sex and drugs and rock and roll thing. He was a professional working with the rest of the Rolling Stones.
Don't they all hate each other right now? Like, they're still making music, but...
Well, I mean, the Ramones hated each other for practically their whole career, and they made like 20 fucking albums.
Yeah, I think isn't it the same with the Who? Like Pete Townsend and what's his name?
Roger Daltrey. They're the only original members alive. So,
well, Pete Townsend's kind of I've heard is kind of a control freak anyways.
Yeah.
That doesn't
I
surprise
was
me.
hanging out with our friend Pete the other night, and we were talking about the Beatles versus Stones debate.
Wait, Def Leppard fan, Pete?
Yeah, Def Leppard fan Pete Peterson.
I heard he has a Def Leppard tattoo on his ass.
Oh, yeah, I put it there.
Ask him to show it to you. Anyway, yeah, we were talking
Right
about
by his butthole. Anyway.
we were talking about the Beatles versus Stone debate, and I was like talking about like a thing I'd read on Cracked like decade ago, where it summed it up as the difference between the Beatles and the Stones is ended too soon and went on too long. And it's like, yeah, I've never found anything that refutes that. And Pete is like, he's a little older. He's Gen X. I won't say exactly what year he was born and on the internet, but he was like, yeah, in my lifetime, the Rolling Stones have only released one good album. And I thought back and I was like, you know what? You're right. They've released several albums in your lifetime. But yeah, since you've been born, only one of those has been good. So yeah, they put out a lot of great stuff in the 60s and 70s.
I think, yeah, that's the problem with the Stones is that they kept going. They should just become like an old touring band instead of trying to make new stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if they want to, I mean,
Yeah,
that's their prerogative, I guess. But
just don't make me listen to it.
Yeah.
a quick thing I want to mention about Pete that I think is kind of funny is he listened to our first episode, Headless Cross, and he messaged me and said I couldn't even get through it. So I said you're not going to like side B, and I said, well, if you don't like Headless Cross, then you're going to hate this. So I sent him a link to our third episode, Diano. And he sent back, this is way better than Headless Cross. This reminds me of Loverboy. And I'm like, I don't understand Pete, and I love that.
We need to have him on as a guest.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he'd probably be much better than me.
I think you did good.
I'm just fucking with you.
So
Wait,
anyway,
which Kiss album should we ambush him with?
Love Gun. What the fuck else?
I think we would ambush Pete with Def Leppard.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
On through the night. Sitting right over there, which has been behind us this entire time because I forgot to put it back.
So yeah, that was this episode on the B-52's self-titled debut. You can find us at the usual places. All three of us are in a band called the Alliterates. We're a post-punk band out of Nebraska. And then Steve and I are also in a band called Lucid Fugue. And then Steve is going to be putting out a solo record really soon. And Steve, where can you find all of that?
By going to my website, killrockmusic.com. That's KILRAVOCK music.com. It's named after the Scottish castle of the Rose clan, of which I'm apparently descended of. So you can go over there and you have links to all of my projects, which includes the Alliterates, which includes all three of us. Lucid Fugue, which includes Dave and I, my old band Megaton, Valley of Shadows, and a bunch of miscellaneous weird things that I put on there. And yeah, a lot of goodies that's dedicated all to me because I have my own cult of personality around myself.
We should do Living Color sometime. Anyway, but yes, and then yeah, we have more episodes coming up. Sean will definitely be back, and with Sean, we will do Sean. What albums?
Peter Criss.
Yeah, Sean. What albums will you be bringing
Gene
with us
Simmons.
when we record with you
Paul
again?
Stanley. King Bozo.
Keep it up. I'll bring a fucking Nickelback.
I'll suffer through Nickelback just because of this. Because it'd be funny
I'll
to
call
watch
you
Steve.
on that thread. Yeah. I will find something likable to say about Nickelback for that.
I said one nice song No, I didn't. Anyways, I'll probably bring a Pixies album and an REM album because those are probably two that I know a little bit better than that I don't know, I've been listening to lately.
They're both great.
Yeah. And I'd like to go plug that I'm going to bed.
Nice. Steve, anything you're bringing in the near future?
I'm planning on bringing the Judgment Night soundtrack, which pairs up a rap artist with an alternative artist of the time. I'm planning on bringing in the first Slipknot album, which they consider a demo now, Mate, Kill, Feed, Repeat, which I don't think... I think only has maybe one member still active in the band and sounds radically different than the band that exists today, and we're going to ambush our friend Andrew with that one. I'm planning on bringing in the first Dream Theater record because I'm curious to see what Dave's reaction to that one is, because he's not a fan of the later records, and to be honest, neither am I, but I do like that first record, and we'll probably ambush... Well, not ambush Andrew with that one. I think he might actually be interested in that.
Yeah, I had some roommates who considered that to be the only band that counted, and that was annoying.
God, I couldn't imagine.
Theater?
Dream Theater, yeah.
I couldn't imagine being that being the only band you listened to.
That was also around the time I was in a heavy Ramones phase at that time, and that really pissed them off because 3 chords. Yeah, it was great. Fun times.
Dream Theater, like, I guess that would be because, like, they just play every type of fucking music. Their songs are fucking 15 fucking minutes long
with needless key changes.
Oh my God.
They're so boring.
I know.
I just can't break through my ADHD barrier. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know how they change so much in one song and it's boring.
And it's not, it's just generic sounding. Like, I don't know.
We're going to piss off the Kiss fan base, the Dream Theater fan base.
I love Dream Theater. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Kiss is awesome.
And then a few other fandoms caught some strays last episode. Anyway, but yeah.
Well, that's all on me, I guess. Just say it was the guest star's fault.
A lot of that was directly me deciding to choose violence. But anyway, coming up soon, I'm going to bring a punk compilation, like a double album that just has a bunch of tracks. That way we can cover a lot of bases, and then we'll come back to some of those artists, and it will be fun. And I am planning at some point in the near future also doing Pere Ubu's first album, so I can go at length into the whole Cleveland punk scene and nerd out about atonal synthesizer noises.
I am looking forward to all of that.
I'm just making noises.
That noise is on that album, and so are a lot of other noises.
We need to get a soundboard. Well, I think that's all of our business for this episode. Go out and listen to the first B-52 album, and I think that's it.
Yep, catch you on the flip side.
Yep, fuck off.
Side 1, Side B is a Floof Goof Studios production. check us out on the interwebs by going to my website, killrockmusic.com. That's KILRAVOCK music.com. And there's a tab for Side 1, Side B. And additionally, you can check out me and Dave's projects, The Alliterates and Lucid Fugue, respectively. You can also check us out on Instagram at KillRockMusicSWS and Dave_Diction. You can also check out our subreddit, Side 1, Side B, and there I post various updates and memes and other bullshit. Thank you.
Waka waka.